into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
So love me like you do, la la la.
Guys, we're still in Ireland.
What?
Yeah,
No, now we're in Park City.
No, we start the episode in Ireland, though. Well, I guess, yeah, technically we're in Park City.
Who sent out the tweet that was like, they basically said rose ceremonies don't happen in the episodes.
You're awful at quoting your own tweet.
No, it wasn't me. It was somebody else, but I agreed with them. It was something along the lines of like, rose ceremonies are off. They're staying in Ireland. And now people are just going to Utah for their hometown dates.
Yeah, what is happening?
Figure it out.
This entire season.
ABC? Is this ABC? Is this Kaitlyn's fault?
Definitely not Kaitlyn's.
Blame it on Nick.
Although if you're gonna travel and you want to enjoy a country, you might as well stay there for more than 3 days.
I do like my home country. I've never been there, actually. So I like it from pictures and Instagram and The Bachelorette.
Your home country?
Ireland.
Ireland. Right. Dublin. Welcome, AfterBuzzers, to AfterBuzz TV. This is your Bachelorette After Show with my favorite people in the world, Brooks Forrester and Cathy Kelley. I'll let you guys tell them which of you is which.
I'm Brooks Forrester. Just make that very clear. And you can find me on Twitter at Brooks Forrester. So you should tweet me right now, actually, on the show, and we'll chit chat. You know, a little chat out.
Chat out. That's a thing.
That's
That's sure some people use.
And you can find me on Twitter at Catherine Kelley and on Instagram at Cathy Kelley.
You guys can find me on Snapchat at Danny Hoyt 47.
Saying bad words. No, that's just me.
No, I said the word dick on Snapchat. And then I snapped myself saying sorry for saying dick. Anyways, welcome to the Bachelorette After Show, where we don't use any of those words on the show. We have a lot to get through tonight. This was an interesting episode, and we have to apologize. Well, Brooks, I'll let you apologize for our guest.
Oh yeah, we were really hoping that Sarah could make it tonight, Sarah Heron, and Sarah Heron.
I was going to say,
every
you put
time
the
I
emphasis
say that
on the wrong syllable.
It's all Sublantics. Anyway, she couldn't make it tonight.
Yeah, a little
We're all
controversy.
bummed, so
No offense,
Sarah,
but you're really bad at pronouncing things.
No offense, but I don't like the tone of your face.
So, Brooks, you mentioned something earlier. Actually, we both did. Actually, I think we all three did.
It sounds like we had a powwow about it now.
Kaitlyn's dress. Dear God, I just want to open the show and let's just get this out of the way now.
Her heart was beating out of her chest because there's nothing else.
There was
Cover it.
I tweeted so I said more like her boobs are like she looked so.
Okay,
I questioned whether I was straight
I
for a
tweeted
second.
You can't even paraphrase your own tweet. You gave me crap about it, and then you're like, I said something about
I started singing, and I was like, yeah,
dresses.
I tweeted something about it. I swear to God, I don't know what I said.
Red hot.
She looks so good. Actually, somebody already said, I can't
Smoke
believe
show.
Danny's not even talking about the dress yet. That's funny.
He is.
But I am. People are also saying, Cathy, you look great in your dress.
Oh, thanks.
Danielle Heggie. Thank you, guys. P.S. We have the chat roll going tonight, and I have it up, so if you guys have comments or questions, you want to live chat with us during the show, that's what it's for. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. We love that you guys are here. So we open up.
Tell us where you're from, too. I love seeing that.
Yeah, we get a lot of. I got Snapchats from
like Antarctica,
Ethiopia, Bolivia,
Czechoslovakia, Denmark.
I didn't get any of those.
You're just
Austria,
naming countries
Hungary,
now,
Bolivia,
Cathy. That's
Germany,
not true.
France.
What about this one? This one.
What?
Oh, that's Iran.
That's a pimple.
He has the map. He has the map
where the
tattooed
Titanic
on his arm.
sunk.
Show the camera.
Oh my gosh.
Iran just made a nuclear deal. Anyways.
I knew this song when I was little. I was like Austria, Bolivia, Czechoslovakia, Denmark, Ecuador, France, Germany, Hungary, India. And it like went through the...
What is she talking about?
Sing it.
No, well, it was like more of a rhyme thing. I don't know. But it was like the ABCs of countries.
Oh, really?
Did you get it?
Oh.
I get it.
Yeah, okay.
I always remember things better if they have a song associated with them, but that's another show. Like the president's last names. Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison,
Yeah.
Monroe, Quincy
Or
Adams, Jackson, Van Buren, Harrison, Tyler,
Alabama,
Polk, Taylor.
Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho.
Brooke, sing a song. You had it.
All minor Mormon ones. That's all I can think of.
Sing us a Mormon song.
I don't want to.
Give us 10 seconds of a Mormon song, please.
Latter-day
Guys,
Prophets
the
are
chat.
number one, Joseph Smith, then Brigham Young. And that's how it goes.
Round of applause
We know
for
that Wilford Woodruff Lorenzo Snow, Heber J. Grant, and George Ever Smith. Gosh, but you're right. It's
There it is. Shout out to back there. There we go. All right, so we open up in Ireland. Sean and Nick right away at each other's throats. If you guys had to pick a,
Throats just going at each other.
what symbol would you do for throats?
I
I just feel like I needed to have a point of impact.
like this, going at each other's throats.
That's,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
that's a little intense, Brooks. This is a family-friendly show.
No
It's-
offense, but you went over the line.
But your hand gestures are
No
offensive.
offense, but I see what you did there. All right, so people are probably wondering when we're going to talk about the show. I say we started at 6 minutes and 55 seconds into this program. We start off with Sean and Nick at each other's throats. If you had to pick a side at that moment, before this episode,
Sean.
I wasn't listening because of that hand movement. My girlfriend texted me, "You're gonna go to hell."
hello.
Sorry. So what was the question?
Hello, I just want to know, I have a beef with her, by the way, because I was 2 piers down from her, 2 lifeguard stands on the beach, and she didn't come play volleyball with me this weekend. So I have a little beef with her. So tell her to stop texting during the show.
Yeah. I'm gonna put it on. Okay. So back to the show. So what are we
I'm
talking
just
about?
No offense, but don't text. No.
I'm just kidding, I love you. So Sean and Nick, I just want to know, if you had to pick a side before this episode, who are you going to pick?
I would have picked Sean.
Really?
Yeah, I would have picked Sean, but
Is Ben an option?
I feel like I know a lot of people don't like Nick, but I feel like Nick still gets the raw end of the deal. Like his edit, he had a little bit of a good edit today, where I was like, oh cool, they're actually giving Nick a little bit of a good edit, and I don't know if that's because he's not going to get picked, but that's what it made me feel. I was like, oh.
Are you guys over the Sean and Nick drama? Is everyone over the Sean and Nick drama?
I think both of them even tweeted today that they were over it themselves.
Yeah.
So-
Everybody's over. Even everybody.
I'm under it. I'm so over it. I'm under it.
That doesn't even make sense, but we'll pretend like it does.
Yeah,
You're under them?
Yeah, I'm under it.
That's another show. Anyways,
Nothing wrong with the audio.
not at all. So I want to say, so that was before the show. Now that the show is over, whose side are you on? Same.
Ben.
between Nick and you know, okay, I'm gonna say this. I didn't like the fact that Sean didn't give Nick the time to at least speak his piece. I mean, Sean went into his place and said, "Listen, I gotta talk to you," and then basically called him out and was like, "You're a dick," blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Da 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 da. And Nick was like, "Hey, listen, can I talk to you?" He's like, "Sure." And then he didn't even let him. He's like, "No, get out of my place." I was just
Yeah.
like, you know what? That didn't really make me a big fan of Sean in that moment. But all things said, I think Sean and Kaitlyn have a better connection than Nick and Kaitlyn.
It didn't seem the most mature from either of them. I think that they both could have handled it better. But I feel like, not in that position, but like, had I been in the same position as Sean or Nick, like, I don't know that I would have been able to keep my cool either. And I think that sometimes you do need to hash something out, as opposed to, like, it's better to now potentially be able to get over it, as opposed to keeping it on the inside or just talking about someone behind their backs. So
I guess to agree with what Brooks what Brooks was saying. Brooks was saying that if Nick is going to be that, I felt like Nick stayed a lot more calm. And this is my thing, when it gets to heated debates like this, it's fine if you really want to, like, raise your voice or whatever. Like, it's fine if you want to do that, but that doesn't accomplish anything. I think what accomplishes is mature conversation, mature talking, and points, and being fair. There's give and take to everything. I felt like Nick had give and take, and I didn't feel like Sean had that. So here's my thing. If we're seeing a taste of that in the littlest thing, that he doesn't even know Nick and his, I feel a little defensive for Nick. Separate my personal feelings. If I just was an objective person who watched just this episode or these situations, I would feel like Sean was bullying Nick.
I don't think that Sean's bullying Nick at all. I think that it's hard because Nick is like a very eloquent dude. He's very deep, as we've seen from this season and his season with Andy. He's able to get his feelings across very well, and I don't think that Sean is quite there. Like, I think his feelings are valid, and is it right of him like blowing up in this way? No, but I personally have the same feelings about Nick as he does, and that were addressed on the show. So, as a fan,
Well, he kept referring to him as a smooth talker.
Yeah.
Did you guys like resonate with that? Where you're like, oh yeah, he is a smooth talker.
That's
like,
how
what
I
are they
feel,
talking
and
about?
whether that's his edit from Andy season, this season, I don't know. It's a vibe that, as a viewer watching the show, not having really interacted with him outside of it, that's the vibe I get.
See, but here's the thing, and I've gotten called this before, like, oh, you're just like a smooth talker. Well, I can articulate things. I can use my words, and I know how to say things. I know how to say things, but it's not saying things to get what I want. It's just saying things in general.
But have you ever?
You do that as well.
Yeah.
You're like, we're hosts. That's what we can do. I don't think that's fair if Sean just isn't naturally as good at saying what he feels. That doesn't mean he's a bad guy or make him less of an intelligent person or of an emotional person. It just is different kinds. I don't think Nick's manipulative.
Not saying this on Nick at all, but have you ever just like gotten the vibe from someone that they're not a genuine person?
Yes.
And you don't know how to verbalize that because everything that they say, everything that they do seems okay, but like you just don't trust them. And I think that that's the vibe that Sean is kind of getting from Nick.
Which is fair, but I do feel like he went about it the wrong way.
Oh, completely, yeah.
And that was my whole thing. I even felt like there was a little bit of threats back and forth. So Sean threatened him, but I feel like there's a little threat of a Nick. He didn't. I don't think he actually said it to his face, but he said something along the lines of like, if you say you're going to be a man, that's like a little bit of a
He
shot.
took a jab.
It's like a backwards jab. Yeah, or like it's like an elbow.
Yeah. No offense.
Yeah.
But
It's
Yeah.
a knee to the side.
No, and right to the groin. Maybe not to the groin,
yeah.
to like the hip flexor.
Yeah.
So as far as the whole Nick and Sean thing, we'll get to that. Let's go back and let's start with the dates now, in order.
Yeah.
Ben first. There's not a thing that is wrong with this guy.
Except for his
No.
sweaters.
I actually liked his cable knit sweater. I don't think
Cable
I
knit,
could.
very
you
I
want to
could pull it
destroy his
off.
sweaters?
I don't like them.
But I like that white sweater that he wore, like the cable knits. That's a good sweater.
I feel like the sweaters were very Irish.
How is it
Befitting.
white?
Especially
I
since
will agree.
What makes a sweater Irish?
there's a certain kind of yarn that you
Cable
can
knit.
get from
Irish yarn.
No, it's
From Irish
So
lambs?
you saw the lambs that were there.
Hey, lambs.
They shear the sheep in Ireland, and it's my mom used to knit with this all the time.
Lambs
No,
So Ben was so they're like, all right, I'm gonna get that, and I'm gonna. He made it himself. He was like, best sleepover
Yeah.
ever. I got all of this.
He sheared the sheep
Cable
and-
knit sweaters.
my dad used to have a farm, and we had sheep, and you would like make it into yarn.
I just described the perfect date for you and Ben H. You guys don't even have to talk about anything else. You just do sweaters.
Cathy
Okay.
for Bachelor. Let's start the hashtag. Yeah, Ben. Oh man, I'd feel. Let's just do the whole thing. He doesn't make it, but I feel for this guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely the next Bachelor.
I would say it's 98% done.
Where's the 2%? Why can't you get there? Commitment issues?
Because I think we need to see one more thing. I think the men tell all will seal it.
Okay. If
think-
people in the audience are wearing I love Ben H shirts, like
No, you
I
have to
love-
wear a solid
I love
color with
one
high
height.
rating.
No, we just need
For the
Michelle
one
Money
bubble.
in the audience, and she's like, "Excuse me, Chris Harrison, is Ben H the next Bachelor?"
Doesn't it? Just keep doing the
It's a
same
plant.
thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's 98% of the way done. I think people
Okay.
are already chiming in on the.
I'm
chat
so
room.
confident that I will bet my and Ben H's firstborn on it.
I can't remember who commented on Twitter, but someone had said like I just think that he was reading cue cards the whole time, like saying the right things and saying the right things for that purpose, but he's not necessarily there for the right reasons.
What?
And
Right reason.
So I was like, okay, that's an opinion, and I like the fact that there's two different opinions
About Ben
here.
H?
But yeah, on Ben H's exit. I thought he took it pretty easy. Like he was like, okay, you know.
Well, before you move
That's
on to
what
the
it is.
exit, I want something you just said. That he's saying the right words. He is a very, very articulate person, and he says almost like movie-written lines at some points. Like they're very perfectly crafted lines. Like he's pre-thought them out. Why is he not a smooth talker?
I don't get the disingenuous vibe from him. I think that throughout the entire season, he showed that he's genuinely interested in Kaitlyn. I think that he's had a couple reservations of like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm ready for love again. Like, I've been hurt in the past. He's scared about making that next step. But I think that during the limo exits and as we get closer to the end, the producers are definitely looking for, or in the back of their mind is like, which of these guys could be the next Bachelor? And they start asking them the questions, like especially in his limo exit, they want to make him look good. So they're asking him, they're asking him better questions. And I don't think that they were all rehearsed. You could even tell when he said, I definitely had feelings for Kaitlyn. Like, I loved her. He was like, like he was like trying to spit it out without crying.
Yeah.
I definitely agree that I definitely agree with your point in the sense that the show's edited him very well. They kept him out of any of the drama. We didn't see him in anything the whole time through. So
Kaitlyn even said tonight, she was like,
it's easy. There's no drama.
You're
with
not
him.
drama. The other two guys, like, they have some beef with each other. So why is that?
Sorry, I'm laughing because I just said hi to everybody on the chat roll, and someone just wrote in, about 36 Crease says, Danny, I'm watching this naked. Thank you for letting us know. I appreciate that.
Anyway, sorry, I cut you off.
No, I laughed. It's 36 Greeks' fault. They said they're watching this naked.
I don't remember what we were talking about. Ben
wasn't
H,
drama.
Yeah, but I think that was the end of the point. So moving on. Move on.
He did have a really funny line, though, when they walked in and they're like, these donkeys have some sick haircuts. I laughed really loud when he said that. So, by the way, their whole castle date, I think if I had to rank the 3 dates, that was my favorite one. Being in the castle and like hanging out, I loved that. Horse riding, that was really cool. Mm-hmm. If I was going to go on a date with Ben H, I'm just kidding.
Do you think the producers basically are like this? Okay, cool. You guys are going to ride halfway across this field. You're going to get off, and then you're going to go over here to this little picnic table.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, cool. Oh, that sucked.
Do you think?
And then they're like, oh, this was the best date ever. Well.
Do you think that the age thing had a little bit to do with it for Kaitlyn with Ben? He was 27 and she's 30. About to be 30.
When they were talking about that, I thought it was actually really sweet that he mentioned his birthday, and like they didn't do anything big for it, because I feel like every single season there's that one person who makes a huge deal about their birthday being on the show, or like they cry because they don't get the date on their birthday or something like that, and I didn't even know, but it did seem like she was a little bit shocked when he said that he just turned 27, and she's like, I'm almost 30.
Talk about a smooth segue too. I mean, Ben H talking about smooth. There's like, it's my birthday. Oh, and I'm 26. Let's talk about my age maybe being an issue. Pretty good, Ben.
Pretty good.
Nick, take note.
That would be weird if you propose to someone you don't even know their age.
Or their birthday.
Really
like, I guess that is the final 3, and then one of the more simple questions. When's your birthday?
Yeah.
Don't know. What's your favorite color?
Don't know.
So I have another question for you guys. So something struck me when, I don't think this actually happens, but the way they edit it, but so she has her overnight with Ben, then he walks out, and then they cut to the interview, and she goes, last night I had my overnight with Ben, today I have my date with Nick. So does she really go 3 nights in a row with these guys? So potentially that's like sleeping with 3 different guys 3 nights in a row. Not saying she did. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But if the way people assume is that that's what happens in fantasy suite, that's part of it. And the way they talked about the fact that she had had sex with Nick earlier this season, they're like, hey, that's something we usually say for the fantasy suite, is kind of how people reference it. So assuming, and I'm not saying with Kate, I'm saying hypothetically, is that something that hypothetically happens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that has happened on past seasons.
I think
Is that
some of the
kind
guys.
of weird? Like, if you're a guy, can you handle that?
A girl or guy, I think it would be tough. It just depends on your outlook on being that intimate. And some people, they save that for marriage. Some people are fine with, I don't know.
So do you think that the sleeping with Nick for Sean made it boil over? He's like, all right, I can't stand Nick already. But then when it was like, all right, I slept with Nick, Sean was like, that's it. I hate this guy.
Yeah.
Got
because
super defensive.
he's having more of an issue with the fact that Kaitlyn and Nick were together and were intimate in that setting, more so than he is with just Nick being a person he doesn't like. Read the comment.
Netsu just had a great comment. They said, well, now Nick and Sean might just be Eskimo brothers. That's ingeniously funny. Congrats to you, whoever you are and wherever you're from.
Awful and funny
It's
at the same
awful, but
time.
it's really freaking funny because it's true.
You were
And-
bragging about being an Eskimo with that country
Bros
singer. And with
before-
me. Quit bragging about it.
Wow. Yeah.
I think that comment too, and Sean might have said things about Nick as well, but that comment was really not necessary.
Wasn't necessary.
And the
Agreed.
way that it was brought up was not necessary. And I think that once Sean learned that, that's when he was like, okay, gloves are off, like,
And my pants are
free.
off, and I'm going to go run across this.
Yeah.
green.
golf course.
Speaking of pants being off, let's talk about Sean's date with Kaitlyn on the golf course, playing golf.
Yeah.
And
Was it
then-
on par with the other date? No.
That was good.
Speaking of this,
I actually didn't think his golf outfit, like, that's legitimately something I'd probably wear if I was going to be, like, out and play golf on TV. Like, I'd wear... You wear...
It wasn't bad.
Golf is about bright clothes. I wear bright clothes when I play golf.
yeah.
That's so they can see you, and so they can yell, "For
Yeah.
the ball's going to hit you in the
Pastels,
head."
maybe, though.
Forehead.
I think that's where it comes from?
No. Absolutely not. Have you guys ever hit anybody with a golf ball?
No.
My grandpa killed a squirrel one time. Straight up, just like...
Like we're gonna say
Murderer.
murdered a squirrel. An accident.
right.
Sean was a pretty good shot,
Tragic
though.
story.
Apparently.
Sean looked like he looked like a good shot until that one time he had to chip over the water, and then they just all... I've done that!
Yeah.
It's the most infuriating... I played golf in high school and college for a
Yeah.
lot of my life, and I still play a lot, and you sometimes, like, you get in your head. That was pretty funny to me.
Yeah.
But he laughed it off and played it well. And then the
Yeah.
streaking thing happened. Did you think that
I
was
don't know.
funny?
I don't know if I'd do the streaking thing.
You wouldn't do
They-
it?
If I were in that same position, I don't know if I'd do it.
They are so comfortable together, and like this just showed their playful side, and that with all of the drama that's happened, with all of the things that have happened this season, they're still able to just have so much fun together.
Yeah. That was pretty freaking funny. Somebody just commented and said the black box was big.
I was kind of hoping that they'd like manipulate the size of the box just as kind of like a joke. Like it's really long at first, and then it's like shortens
And then it's
up.
like a rhombus.
Yeah, that's-
It's like oblong.
so just
That would be funny. Do you think they could even do stuff like, would they do that? Is that their humor?
They
That'd
did
be-
that last
They-
season with the girl that always had her butt showing. Like,
Oh,
Her
yeah.
what?
Her butt.
Her butt.
Her butt showing. Kaitlyn had a really nice swing, though. That really actually impressed me.
I was impressed.
Yeah. She had a very nice swing. Okay, so
Nice set of swing you got.
nice set of swings there you got there.
Ken?
I guess where I was a little confused with their date, when you watch Kaitlyn and Ben, it gets to the dinner portion, and it was like they couldn't stop staring at each other in love. They get to the dinner portion of Sean and Kaitlyn, and that's when she brings up the Nick stuff.
Yeah.
Right before they read the fantasy suite card. That's like the biggest boner killer ever.
which it really didn't kill any whatever that vibe, because it wasn't even a question with them. She was just like, oh, here's a date card, cool, let's go. There was no like, hey, do you think you want to go to the fantasy suite?
Yeah, I just...
Let's think about this. Let's get inside of the head of Kaitlyn. Wayne's World. But if we get inside the head of Kaitlyn, here we are. I think that's the moment that she's not me.
Not me.
That's Kaitlyn whistling at some guy.
Yeah.
We're inside her head, remember?
Yeah, that's right. So to
I
my
don't know where
point
that
though,
sound
I
effect,
think
by the way. I've never heard that before. That was awesome.
it's I think it's Periscope.
Oh.
That's a Periscope sound.
Oh, is that what that was? I thought that was coming from the control. Okay, go ahead.
We're in Kaitlyn's head, and we're in this moment. I think that's the one thing she wanted to know before she went to the fantasy suite with Sean, to really understand his perspective. It was the last thing on the table that she really wanted to talk to him about, albeit bad timing. She's like, once I can talk about this, then cool. Then we can let that happen, and it'll be a lot better. But it's something I want to get off my chest. She's in a really tough position. She's got two
Super
people that far. I said this earlier. I'm like, I would not want to be in that position. It would be really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Do you think that means that Nick was on her mind a little bit while they were out?
How could it not be? I think that when you're in that position, you have to kind of compare the guys that you're dating. It's hard to separate. And like we were talking about in past seasons, a lot of the times when you're ending these relationships, it's not the natural time that a relationship would end. Like you're almost being forced to end it. So
you think
that's
given more time with Ben H, that they may have been a better couple than Sean and her, or Nick and her?
I would say that whoever she ends up with, I hope is the one that would have the longest relationship or the greatest chance at them getting married and spending the rest of their lives together. But it's tough when like a relationship ends and it doesn't really run its course, because then sometimes you are wondering what if.
Yeah.
And so you're saying that she had to say goodbye to Ben early.
Yeah, definitely.
Before she was ready.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, so yeah, the rose ceremony.
Before we get into that, just want to mention there's actually a new app, and we have a little promotion
goes all
for
Vanna
you.
White on us.
Yes.
Do it.
Vanna Whiting. So there's this new app called Next Issue, and it's actually really cool. I don't know, we were looking at it earlier, but it's basically the Netflix for magazines.
If you're a magazine person, it's literally a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So I would consider myself a mediocre magazine person. I read magazines when I fly or when I'm waiting
You have
anywhere.
JQ on your
JQ? That's a new one.
GQ on your
I do.
coffee
I have
table,
a subscription
Men's
to GQ,
Health.
a subscription to Esquire, and I have subscription to ESPN the magazine.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And these are two of them were gifts. One I bought for myself, and I would consider myself a mediocre person. This would more than cover everything. So $9.95 a month. You have
$9.99 a month.
$9.99. Excuse me. 4 cents difference.
Dwells in there. ESPN, Esquire.
Everything. No, literally
Try to stump it.
every magazine.
Fast Company, one of my favorites. That's got everything.
Glamour, Health, literally every magazine that you could find at just
Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble, any
just
shop,
like if
yeah.
you've never used Netflix, let me explain this. So Kathy's got this up here like, oh, today I want to read Crickets and Butterflies in the Wild. You type into the search, the magazine pops up. Today I want to read Good Housekeeping. Type it in, it pops up. I want to read People because Ben and Jen split, and I want to see the latest article.
Danny.
Oh my gosh. I want to see Vogue because I want to see Caitlyn Jenner's brand new pics layout. You can see anything on here.
literally, if you buy more than 2 magazines a month, it ends up paying for itself too, and you don't even have to get off your couch, which is something that I don't like doing. So,
And also for, I'm just going to put it out there for the fellas out there that like the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. There's back catalogs of those. So
What, you guys don't like
instead
girls?
of keeping them stacked up, I'm just saying. And
This
the cool
is stacked.
This is stacked. The cool thing about AfterBuzz is if you go to nextissue.com/abtv, you get a free month of this. So you get to go play around, get all the magazines you want for a month.
This is going to replace so many jobs, so many people that do the magazine. Like, I see them every summer, the people that sell magazine subscriptions.
Where are you hanging out in the summer?
My dad buys them every time. He'll get like 6 magazines. He's like, yeah, it's a bargain.
Well, I hope your
And they're
dad's,
just, like, coming
I
to
hope
his
your
house.
dad's listening to me because we just sold
Boom.
him on Next. Thank you, Kathy, by the way. That's so true. And this is something that I just learned about, and I'm loving it already. So,
Take it easy.
so let's
Kaitlyn.
talk about this rose ceremony. Do you think Kaitlyn knew honestly before? Or do you think she really made the decision that day?
About Ben?
Yeah, about Ben. I wanted to ask you guys this earlier.
I think she was being open to it and trying to see if there was anything else that for some reason she missed, but I think she kind of already had her mind
their
made up.
overnight date ended so well, I thought. Like, they both seemed so happy. She was glowing. He was smiling. Like, it seemed like the other two just went better. That's what it was.
I think that the overnight date didn't help her situation with Ben. I think it made it harder. I don't think she was feeling it, but I agree. I think she wanted to explore it. Let me give it a chance. And then she was like, holy crap, this is what? Yes.
So do you think
Brooks.
if she hadn't slept with Nick prior, given the circumstances that we now have, same final 3, right? Nick,
Yeah.
Sean, and Ben, she hasn't slept with any of them. Who goes home in this rose ceremony?
If she hadn't slept with anybody,
Yeah.
Still Ben.
I still think
Still
it's
think
Ben.
Ben. So that was
Yeah.
a non-factor.
Yeah,
the
I don't
fact
think
that she'd
so.
already.
I think it changed these 3. I don't think
Honestly,
so.
it kind of seems like Ben's exit parallels Caitlyn's from last season, because her and
yeah.
Chris had a great date. And there was no reason why that should have ended other than that he saw more of a future or more of a potential for a future with the other two girls that were there, Whitney and Becca.
Yeah. Jeez. That's good. That's a good point.
Anything in the chat room about that? Anyone say anything about the...
People are saying that they think Kaitlyn had a worse final three because she loved all three guys. Joseph Boza said that. Yeah, I think she genuinely had love, has love, had love, because now she's just with one. Why was that so hard for me? I think she had love at one point for all three guys. Maybe even more, because I think it's possible to have love.
I mean, you could still,
but to be in love is,
Different thing.
Yeah.
different thing. Okay, so we have two family dates. I want to mention this, by the way. I want to talk about the chug it out bro moment. After Ben leaves and she walks... Good God, that was the most awkward bit of silence I've seen on The Bachelor or Bachelorette in a long time.
That was such a great shot,
And
too.
they let it go forever. And Sean goes to take a drink, and then Nick takes one at the same time, and they
Sean
both...
chugs his.
That was
And then he
so
looks at it like, oh,
funny.
darn.
If you guys want to see, I tweeted out a screenshot of it because I laughed so hard. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty...
Yeah, kudos to the editors that edit this. Cause
Like, behind, they were like, no,
wait.
Like, even Nick himself, the way he set down the glass on the table.
Yeah, you noticed that. It was very, like, ginger.
Didn't want to, like, disturb the silence.
Let it breathe. So, we have two family dates. We have Nick's and we have Sean's. So, let's start with Nick's
What are
family.
they doing? What are they doing on The Bachelorette? Why are they in Park City?
I don't know. Why are we in Ireland? How much did Ireland pay
What is
The Bachelorette?
going on?
Yeah, what is? I never know what's going
Or, like,
on.
we're
seemed-
short some bucks?
I want to say it was like on the fly. Like they were originally planning to do it normal, or I would think that they would plan to have, go to Ireland, go somewhere else, maybe in Europe, come back, do the hometowns in their hometowns, and then go somewhere tropical for
But
the
then the potato
overnights.
famine happened. They felt bad,
Yeah.
so they stayed.
But seriously, why? Yeah, why Park City? And where was? Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure the Montage Resort gave them
We will not
money
give them any
to.
further plugs.
Oh, okay. Well, they gave them money to have it there or something like that. I don't know. I would assume they looked around. Maybe that was somewhere where they were considering having a date prior. Maybe they just really like Park City.
They're like,
I
well,
love
if
Park
there's
City.
any place that can handle a woman dating two men, Utah's the place.
Utah's
so they're-
the place. It's true. We've descended on the place. So Sean's family. Let's start with Nick's family. I thought
That
that
it was smaller.
yeah, it was a very small family. Good
It was
God,
big.
it's
It
huge.
was like as big
You
as
knew
my
this.
family.
I know, but it still surprised me.
Okay, so we're sitting there, and Nick's like, we're getting introduced to all of his family members, and you go, whoa. And then I was like, wait, how many siblings do you have? And you're like, 72.
Yeah, but I just wasn't expecting anyone else's parents to be as crazy as mine.
And let's talk about Bella. Freaking Bella scores again.
She is so freaking adorable, and her dimples
Her little
now
dimples.
too. So Nick needs to take her on every single date he ever goes on ever, and then he will get the girl.
Yeah, jeez. So what'd you guys see here? Any observations from Nick's family? Do you feel like she fits with them?
They seriously had some reservations about this, and you could tell. Like, they were even really open about it. His mom, especially, so concerned about him, which I think is great to have a family be that supportive of you and care about you that much. But I don't even know what's like going through their mind where, again, it's final two, and they saw how crushed he was after the last time.
Yeah.
So
Which is fair. I think that's where their skepticism comes from. I don't think it's from Kaitlyn. I think, or not the majority of it. I think it's just the fact that he did this. They
even said that
Have their guard
Kaitlyn
up.
looked like she was looking at him better than Andy was when it was only, final three, final four. So.
Well, I also feel like the family's got some reservations due to the fact that they saw the edit of the first season with Andy and then have their son there to be like, okay, this is what happened. Maybe that part is edited out, or this wasn't really how that happened. And to hear that and to see how the show played out, I don't think he got the best edit, right, on Andy's season. And to then know he's going to go through that again and potentially it get worse. Like, if I were a parent, I would be concerned about that.
Yeah.
aside from whether or not he's going to be in this great relationship with Kaitlyn and being crushed, like, so those, I think they faced a much bigger challenge.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. It's just it's very interesting to me, the different families. And what was interesting to me is the two most skeptical people were Nick's mom and Sean's dad.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? Mm-hmm. Is that a parental thing?
I would hope so. You, as a parent, want to protect your offspring, and yeah.
Do you feel like they both trusted the decisions of their children?
I mean, what other options do they have?
Yeah.
Really, at that point,
You want to be
I mean,
supportive.
what could you do as a parent?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to call them out on TV, but I felt like...
Although we've seen that in the past.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we have. Yeah, that's true. We have. I felt like Sean's dad. I'm gonna fast forward to Sean's family time, but I felt like he was very skeptical. But in the end, was just like, yeah. Well, I mean, I trust you. Like, I got your back. You know, I support you. Go for it. Yep. That's got to be. I don't know as a parent how I would do that. That's tough.
Yeah.
You know. So, well, let's talk about Sean's family now. What do you see with Sean's family? Different from Nick's.
I felt like because of the experience, they've gone through it before. I think they were much more reserved, and with Sean's family, they were much more excited to be like, "Oh, great! You know, we have this experience with Sean," and it seems like the way that Sean and Kaitlyn were together on their date, like when they were on the couch, I don't know. They if I were in that room as a family member, I'd be like, "This seems legit."
Yeah.
Like they seem like they're a great couple. I would probably say the same thing.
Somebody just mentioned this on chat roll. Misha C. I'm sorry, but Sean's mom not being there spoke loud and clear. We all noticed this. Sean's mom wasn't there.
But
what do you think that is? Do you think it's just like a prior engagement?
I wasn't sure whether it was she. I didn't take it as that she didn't approve of this.
I didn't either.
At all. And maybe it is. That's the first time that thought crossed my mind. I just assumed she had something else. They didn't mention like health issues, but that's the first thing that would pop to mind as to why you couldn't come. But
if it was serious health issues, I would think they would address it.
Yeah.
So there's a couple thoughts. One, and somebody mentioned in the chat roll, I had this thought earlier, part of the reason maybe they both did in Park City is because everything changed with Hometowns a couple weeks ago, and Chris Harrison was like, everything's about to change. All this adjusting of the schedules could have changed that. So that could be part of it.
Yeah.
And maybe initially when they had told, families like, hey, if we get to Hometowns, this is the week it'd be.
Yeah.
So people can kind of know that all changed. So maybe she had like a work trip or something that can't be changed.
They don't pay the families to do this. Like they don't give you time off of work necessarily. They don't pay you for.
They don't fly you in.
They don't.
No, they did not.
Wow.
Like my family they all drove. The ones that were from Boise drove down. Some flew in, and that was not on ABC's dime at all.
Okay.
Speaking of families, I favorited this earlier tonight. So Andy Dorfman usually live tweets the shows, and somebody reached out and said, really admirable of Andy Dorfman to refrain from subtweeting this hometown, talking about Nick's hometown. And she goes, families don't sign up for the show, so to me they are off limits. Mm-hmm. But that was a really mature, interesting thing to say. And I guess it kind of brought up a perspective that I hadn't really thought about before. But yeah, families don't sign up for this.
Unless your sisters sign you up for it.
Right.
Unless your sisters sign you up for it. And so, speaking of sisters, I want to talk about this. So one thing, I don't know if you guys noticed this, Sean's sister Jessie, Kaitlyn goes, do you think Sean is ready for marriage? Her answer, I don't know if you guys caught this, was, if he's in love with you, I could see him being engaged. That's not a direct answer to me. Do you think there's anything to that?
I don't know. I was going to say, now knowing that he's the youngest brother kind of makes sense for why he is the way he is.
Like with a little chip on his shoulder?
No, not chip
What do
on
you
his
mean?
shoulder. I think that it's, the younger kid usually like gets picked on and they're like, wait, hold on. I don't know how to like fight back. And so, yeah, that's just.
And looks to his older siblings for approval and values their opinion.
Somebody just mentioned this in chat roll too, and I've noticed this before. I want to ask you this about Sean because I saw it after their family time when he said, "There's one more thing I have to tell you." When he's talking to Kaitlyn up close, looks down a lot and away a lot.
Nick does that too.
Nick does a little bit. Ben was the best at looking right at her, but they both kind of do. But I noticed it with Sean.
I noticed it with Nick the entire
really?
time. Yeah.
Okay.
Nick was like, "Yeah, so I love you, and I just want to like talk about."
Griggs mentioned it, and so did Misha. Said I noticed that too. Yeah, it's interesting. Why is that?
It's either, I mean, they always say when you look down, you're lying. But I think it also could be an insecurity thing.
Okay.
It's very hard to put yourself out on the line. Like, saying that you love someone is a very difficult thing to do, especially, well, usually when you say you love someone for the first time, you don't know whether they're going to say it back to you. In this situation, they can't.
Yeah. Right. So. I know that for me, so there's been times before when, if I'm talking, like the girl that I'm dating, when I'm talking to her up close, sometimes I'll look down, but it's like a bashful, like a. I'm not trying to be.
It's also weird if you're like that close to someone's face.
Sure.
To, like,
or sometimes if you're trying to like compose a thought, I'll gather my thoughts and then come back. I even do it when I'm talking to you guys now. I'll be like, let me ask you this.
I didn't think it was odd.
Did you notice it? Did it stick
it.
out? Well, if you didn't notice it, then yeah.
But it's so that's the other thing is I feel like even with Ben, when he's not looking at her eyes, he's like looking at their hands touching or like her ear and like pushing back her hair or something
still
like that.
Part of her.
It's not like completely to the other side or down or I don't know.
Yeah. Well, okay, so that's the episode.
That's that.
We move to Men Tell All next week.
Which they taped on Saturday, I believe.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I want to go.
My friend
One of these
almost
years, I
went,
want to go. I think that I forgot about a few things. I forgot about Clint. I forgot about Ian. That's the only things I'm really excited to see. That there wasn't a lot of other drama besides that. So I think that's like the questions that Chris Harrison was posing in the voiceover. Like, did Jared ever move on with his life? Like, what does Ben H think about Kaitlyn now? Okay, fair questions. But
what's Ian's cat's name?
Yeah. Does Ian still run on the boulevard in Venice? I don't know if we're really going to get a lot of like fire, like a lot of drama or answers. Because the big thing they always play with the Men Tell All or the Women Tell All is you'll get all your questions answered. What really happened
I'm
here?
really interested in hearing what the guys say about both Sean and Nick. That's what I'm interested in hearing.
And you'll notice on Instagram and on Twitter when they posted pictures, there was 2 separate groups. It was like JJ, Clint, I think Tanner was in one, and like forgot his name. Were in one picture, and then it was like all the other guys were in another. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Well,
I don't know if that means anything, but I'll tell you what does mean something. Bachelor in Paradise. Whoa.
God, I can't wait. The promos
So
are
many
so
ugly
funny.
cries.
So much drama.
Yeah,
Mine on
and
my
you had a
last show.
point that they, the way they're billing it, they changed the verbiage in this one. They said, we bring back all your drama favorites, or...
Are they here for love? And it was like, who's here for love? They made it out to be more like a bachelor pad.
That's a very
was.
interesting observation.
The first season wasn't like that. It was more genuous. And
I still think there's a chance that people will, there will be.
yeah, it's a
People will
teaser. It's to get people to watch.
Yeah, it's a good teaser. People will find love. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you so much to Chat Roll for chiming in. I love having you guys on here. In the meantime, Brooks and Cathy, where can people find you guys?
You can find me on Twitter at Catherine Kelley and on Instagram at Cathy Kelley.
Tweet at me at Brooks Forrester. Get at me, see my street lingo.
My street lingo.
Or you can Snapchat me at Brooks Forrester.
Somebody said on the chat room, I have to say this, they secretly want Kaitlyn to choose Nick just to see Sean lose his marbles. That's kind of sad, but he would go.
Oh, yeah.
When
I think that's why they called Nick first.
When
so
she
that
called Nick first, oh my gosh. Sean, when he like kind of went back and gulped, I thought he was going to just explode. Oh my gosh. You guys can find me on Snapchat at DannyHoyt47 and on Twitter and Instagram at Danny Hoyt. Thank you so much for hanging with us. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye now.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Yeah.
There's a ton to talk about on that episode.
views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.